Hold on to your seats, Star Trek fans, because Picard Season 3 Episode 4 might be called No-Win Scenario. But this episode is all about how the Titan gang figures out how to win. And boy, do we have some mind-blowing Easter eggs, references, and canon shoutouts to share with you. First up, the title of the episode, No-Win Scenario, comes from The Wrath of Khan, in which we learned that Starfleet cadets are thrown into a simulation called the Kobayashi Maru Scenario, where it's actually impossible to save the ship. There was no way to win. The idea is to teach cadets to prepare for the worst and to accept that death in the depths of space just might happen. But of course, the existence of the no-win scenario in Star Trek is only there to present the opposite. Kirk famously cheated and beat this test by reprogramming the simulation because he hates losing.
I don't like to lose.
The episode kicks off with a flashback to 5 years ago, which would be roughly 2397, about 2 years before Picard Season 1. The Starfleet uniform styles worn by the young officers quizzing Jean-Luc matched that time period too. LA-10 Forward is always brimming with Easter eggs, including a golden model of the Enterprise, an old next-gen publicity photo of Whoopi Goldberg going in right above Picard's booth, and a photo of Picard and Gannon from Star Trek Generations. This photo also appeared in Picard Season 2 and is kind of hilarious because the context of this scene between Picard and Gannon only occurred in the dreamlike world of the Nexus, in which Gannon wasn't actually there, but rather a kind of psychic echo of herself. Now, the Nexus is also a place where Picard dreamed he had a son and daughter, but you don't see any photos of those fake children in the bar, even though one of them did come back and play a changeling last week. The flashbacks of Picard telling old stories in the bar continue as an emotional through-line for the whole episode. One cadet asked Picard about
your encounter with the Herodian,
and goes on to ask him about
Did you ever find out how they got to the quadrant?
and if Admiral Janeway offered any advice. This Easter egg has a lot of little baby Easter eggs hidden inside of it. First of all, the Herodian, or hunter alien species from Voyager, first appeared in the episode Hunters. Because they're native to the Delta Quadrant, it's super relevant that this kid wonders how they got to Federation space in the Alpha Quadrant. Janeway's familiarity with Herodian is why the cadet is wondering if Picard asked her for advice. Picard refers to Lieutenant Commander Worf because Admiral Janeway couldn't have been the boss of him until 2379-ish. We have to assume that the adventure took place around the events of Nemesis. But not all of Jean-Luc's war stories are deep cuts to things we've never seen. Much later in the episode, when we revisit this exact flashback, Picard talks about an adventure that we all know when he says, "Then I realized that the Temerians' language was based on metaphor." Jack and Picard entering the holodeck and having the simulation be the LA version of 10 Forward are one of the first Easter eggs from the Picard end credits, which now comes true. In those end credits, we see text that says, "Initiating Holosequence Program 10 Forward Barley." But this will not be the last end credits Easter egg. Later in this scene, Jack says that he's really a whiskey guy, continuing the running joke this season that no one wants Picard's wine. Crusher has learned the thing Nebula is actually going to give birth to a bunch of space babies, which Riker hardly believes, but Crusher reminds him that they've encountered species before life forms that thrive in the vacuum of space. Farpoint, which of course references the very first episode of Next Generation, in which giant space jellyfish. The Enterprise also encountered other space-dwelling creatures and Galaxy's Child, and the Discovery encountered a space whale in the episode Magic to make the sanest man go mad. When the creatures are born at the end of the episode, they do look a lot like space jellyfish. Jean-Luc takes command of the ship for the purpose of flying the Titan out of the nebula, which is actually the first time in all 3 seasons of Picard in which Jean-Luc is in the center seat of a big starship. The idea of Picard guiding a ship out of a tricky situation in which the ship has 0 power also parallels the episode in which he took the helm of the Enterprise and slingshot the ship around an asteroid. Not to be outdone by Picard's asteroid antics from back in the day, Riker throws an asteroid at the strike using the Titan's tractor beam, which really from now on should be known as the Riker maneuver. The episode ends with two familiar TNG moments. Riker and Troy talk over a subspace channel, marking the first appearance of present-tense Marina Sirtis in this season of Picard after she appeared in a flashback in the previous episode. Finally, the episode ends with Picard recording an Admiral's log, which has never happened in any episode of Picard. Until now, this gives the first 4 episodes of Picard Season 3 the feeling of having been one big episode of The Next Generation. Several mysteries remain. There are 10 episodes total in Picard Season 3, and now we have to find out how all of this connects to the adventures of Orphan Rafi. Where's Geordi? Where's Laura? There's so much left to explore. And then we get the creepy AF ending of Jack looking in a mirror.